Okay, we are live, but we're not going to go straight into it right away because we're just going to make sure that anybody watching both on LinkedIn or on YouTube has a moment. Kind of annoying thing about when you start things on YouTube or LinkedIn, you just get notified like the moment you go live. There's no like, it'll be going live in 10 minutes. So we'll just sit here and talk amongst ourselves as we join. I can see we already have 10 people. That's pretty cool. Note to any of you watching. Yeah, note to anybody watching on YouTube. If you type a comment on YouTube, it does show up in our hosting platform, which is Restream. So feel free to chat. And on LinkedIn, not so much, but we have our social media guru, Jess, watching like a hawk. So feel free to comment there too, if that's where you are.
I feel like I'm a correspondent in a different website.
No, so we had 10 when we started. The moment I started talking, it went to 9. Ah, there we go. Good to see some early chatter. Seems to be hovering. What do you think, Frankie, Jess? We just proceed, seeing as this is the first 10 minutes. It's just us introducing ourselves anyway.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Alrighty. We will move. Hey, welcome everyone watching now and those of you in the future who come back and watch this video. This is the DevSecOps London Gathering virtual meetup. It's February 12th, 2025. It is 6 p.m. in the UK, 1 p.m. for myself in Canada. Some of you might be wondering why it's virtual instead of our usual live in London meetup. My understanding, this is Frankie aged 10 years in the last 2 weeks with 2 different venues saying yes and then no, pretty much back to back. Something like that, right, Frankie?
Yeah, with about 15 others who thought they might be able to help us and then sadly couldn't.
Yeah, so we are doing probably an appropriate month anyway. February is a short month. It's cold out. It's kind of miserable. And maybe it's not a bad idea that we're actually virtual today. Shout out to one of our usuals. Hey, Roy. He's joining online. We will continue to go on. So today we're going to be learning about breaking and defending AWS offensive and defensive strategies. We are your organizers. That is us in some random order. Myself, Jessica, so I'll say hello.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I was being way too diligent with the mute button there. Hello, I'm alive.
Frankie.
Hey guys, nice to see you all online. We'll see you again back in person next month.
And Glenn is in limbo because he had set up all of his transport to appear at the live event, which means he is probably sitting at a bad internet cafe at the moment. So he was ready to be live, but he wasn't set up to actually go virtual. So he is missing today, unfortunately. But I'm here. Hey, I'm able to participate from Toronto. Frankie, you want to take the how to stay in touch with us?
For sure. So yeah, for those of you, most of you would have found us through Meetup. You can find us on Meetup. We've got quite a lot of our upcoming events already live on there, with more details coming soon as we've just added in some additionals and secured some more venues for the rest of the year. You can get in touch with us via Meetup, via team@dsolg.com on email, which comes to all of us. You can follow us on LinkedIn where we post our updates. You can watch us on YouTube. We've got a couple of our previous events there. We often when we're in person we aren't able to stream. So great that this one we can actually record and have live on YouTube for people to come back to. And we also have our DSO Overflow podcast, which we actually recently launched our recent episode. And if we go to the next slide, please, Steve. There we go. You can see more about our podcast. Yeah, we post an episode, publish one every month. We've got some exciting guests coming up on there, and if anyone also has any requests or suggestions for guests, or would like to, perhaps you're not you perhaps are remote and you don't want to, and you can't maybe come into London to do an in-person event, but would like to have a chat on the podcast, please do get in touch with us via that team@dsolg.com email.
Excellent. So I'm passing on to friends of DSO London Gathering.
Friends of the show.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got many friends of the show. One of them, as you mentioned, is joining us tonight. Hi, Roy. I'll post a link to the BCS DevSecOps group in the comments on both LinkedIn and YouTube now, so that you can stay in touch with the events that are happening. But most of our fellow meetup gang are also being quite virtual in February. Maybe we're just accidentally on trend. London DevOps are having a session next month on the 27th. That looks pretty fun, over at hosted by AWS. And the Ladies of London Hacking Society are getting together on the 5th of March for their career event of the year. So check those out on Meetup.
Sponsor announcement. These events wouldn't be possible without the support of sponsors. And big shout out to Apiro, a leader in application security posture management, or ASPM, all things full security platform from the perspective of applications. So something very special for application and AppSec. So if you want to learn more, you can go check them out at apiro.com. That's 2 I's in case you were wondering whether that was a spelling mistake. Frankie, you want to do this one?
Yeah, sure. So this event is really here to be a community event. This evening we have a great speaker from within the community who approached us with a topic they wanted to share. And the event wouldn't be the event without our community. We have some more speakers coming up already secured for the next couple of months, but for the rest of the year, there are several slots available. So please do get in touch, again, either via that team email, or you can scan the QR code. You don't have to have a fully fledged talk. You can get in touch with us with some ideas. We can do a lightning talk, which is typically more kind of 15 minutes, or a longer main talk for 30 to 45. Just get in touch with us and we can discuss if you want to test out some material, try something before a conference, or just want to share some experiences that you've had. Like our speaker last month, Alex, he actually came along to an event and was inspired to build a project of his own off the back of it. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you if you want to become a speaker. And finally, save the date. So yeah, our next event is already live on Meetup. We'll be at Veracode, the office there, on Wednesday, the 18th of March. And we'll be joined by Paul, who has previously spoken at the Meetup. And we probably will also have another speaker as well, actually, for that one. So more details coming soon, but you can already RSVP via Meetup now.
Okay, and without any further chatter, I think we're going to hand it over. And I will get rid of me, that. Oh, and a giant me, even worse. Are you ready to go? And would you like to introduce yourself as well? I'm going to get rid of us little people, so say goodbye to Jess. Boop. And goodbye to me. Over to you. We can't hear you, by the way. I'll pop back until we get the sound right. I still can't hear you, and your screen's not shared anymore. No, still, I can't. Let me bring a second opinion back. Frankie, you can't hear either?
No, I can't, unfortunately. Oh. Sorry for this technical delay. We even did a test run and we were all working fine. So we'll soon get back up and running.
So we're going through alternative sound methods.
Hello.
There we go. We can hear you now.
I'm not sure
Do you want
what is
to
the
try
problem,
that?
but let's go again.
There we go. Great to have you back. Let's go.
All right, you've corrected it. All right. Do you want to share your screen?
Sure. Is it visible?
There we go. It will be in 2 seconds. Let's put me back over to here. Add that in there. And you are good to go.
Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining. Wherever you are joining from, YouTube, LinkedIn. So in this particular session, we will be talking about AWS or generic cloud security. We will be focusing on how to attack a web application, and then from exploiting a web application vulnerability, then moving laterally within the cloud environment, starting from a low privileged role uh, up to administrator access. Next, something about myself. My name is Prabhsimran. Uh, I I am working since last 5 years. Um, I like to understand how things work, specifically in computers. Um, right now, I am working as a cybersecurity consultant. Um, I like to read and write. I usually share my recent learnings on my Medium blogs. I also play CTFs sometimes. Uh, you can check out these links, Hack the Box or Medium, if you want to. So why AWS? If you want to test or assess security for a cloud environment, why should you start with AWS? So there are many reasons. First of all, AWS is the most prominent player in the cloud market. Uh, most of the companies use AWS in some or the another way. These are some of the facts. So that's why it is better if you want to get into cloud security, you can start with AWS because it is there are more people using AWS, so there will be more community support. If you ask a question over any blog, like this is not working in AWS, so there are high chances you will get a response by someone who is doing the same thing. So that is the only reason why AWS. Next is these are some of the things which we'll be going through. Basics of IAM, what is IAM, and policies, roles, permissions, finding misconfigurations in IAM, abusing those misconfigurations, using AWS CLI, abusing different AWS services if they are misconfigured, using or at least checking some of the tools, uh, how to use those tools to assess the security of the cloud environment. Next is this is same. So what is IAM? IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. This is a service which is used for giving permissions or authorizing users, for example, or authorizing your different services within your cloud. The full form of this is Identity and Access Management. You will find this service in every cloud provider, whether it is AWS, Azure, Oracle, Microsoft Azure. There is Alibaba. So IAM is everywhere. It is similar to, you can assume it like Active Directory. In Active Directory we have Kerberos, so that is on premise. This is we have STS assume role in AWS, so we will be looking into that. So there is something known as root account. Root account is the account which you used while you created your account. So root account is the one with which you use your email address and password for logging in. So this was the account which was created by default. Users, now in IAM you can define different things: users, groups, policies. So some of the facts regarding with specific to AWS: users are the people which can be grouped. So a group can contain multiple users. Groups can only contain users, not other groups. So you cannot create groups with inside a group. So a group can only contain users. Users are not allowed to be a part of group, or user can or cannot be a part of group. Um, and a single user can be part of multiple groups, as you can see in this example diagram. So just for analogy, um, if you are already familiar with Linux permissions, so we have three types of permissions in Linux: user, owner, and others. Now these are basically file permissions, but in case of uh, so IAM, we don't have this type of differentiation. But as we have permissions in Linux, so we have permissions in cloud as well. So this is how it looks like. This is one of a permission or policy. This is these are defined as JSON documents. So these documents define the permissions of user or the services to which these permission will be attached. Um, so we try to give only those permissions which are required by the user or the service. If you give excessive permission, so that's where misconfiguration arises. So for example, in this particular case, we are allowing this particular permission describing EC2 instances, and resource is star, which means all the EC2 instances can be described. Similarly, the next part is allow EC2 load balancing describe. We are allowing uh, every resource to uh, to be described for the elastic load balancing. Similarly, next, CloudWatch is a service within AWS. It is uh, it is used to analyze uh, cloud CloudTrail. CloudTrail is another service that is basically for logging. You analyze the logs in CloudWatch. So yeah, this permission is allowing list matrix, get matrix, statistics. CloudWatch describe again on everything. Next is difference between policies. There are two types of policies in AWS: managed and inline. Um, so there is just a very minor difference. In managed policies, you will have a specific resource. So managed policy is in itself is a resource. So what do I mean by that is, if I uh, go to my console and go to IAM, there are sorry, these are roles. I want to show you policies. So all of these policies are managed policies, because these are having a ARN attached. I mean, this is a resource in itself. Inline policies are something which are directly attached to a user, for example. So for example, I am having an admin user and I am having a managed policy attached to it. What I can do is I can click here and create inline policy. So what will be the differences? So when I will be deleting this user, this policy, whatever the permission which I created, will also get deleted with the user, whereas this administrator access will remain. So that is the basic difference. You can read in the slides. Yeah, so I just showed you this thing. Now is the most important thing is roles in AWS if you are trying to assess the security of AWS environment or services. So roles are basically similar to, you can think of this like a service account. So this is something which is not a user. It can be anything. It can be application. It can be a Lambda function. It can be any other service within the AWS. So you can attach permissions to that. So which will allow that particular service to do those things which you defined in the permissions documents. The difference is if you give a user permissions and the credentials of the user get stolen, so the attacker or the person who got the credentials will have access as that particular user for unlimited time. Whereas in case of roles, this is a temporary token or temporary access. So this particular credentials gets expired after a specific time. By default, it is 1 hour. You can configure that in the roles by going into IAM and then roles. For a specific role, you can change the time by how much duration this security credentials will get expire. So for example, this is one of the example for EC2 instance. So in this particular case, I have attached a modify firewall, a policy named as role named as modify underscore firewall underscore copy. And in the above example, I am running this within the EC2 instance. So I'm running this command from the EC2 instance where this policy, where this role is attached. So you can see if I run from the AWS CLI, get AWS get STS get call identity. This is something similar to who am I, which you run in Unix. Who am I will tell you with which user you are logged in, or ID command. And this is similar to who am I, but in with respect to AWS. STS get caller identity. So you can see in the ARN, you can see the role which you are assuming is the modify underscore firewall underscore copy. So if you have these permissions within your EC2 instance, so this is the result. I mean, you can modify the security group rules. So now let's assume attacker got access to this EC2 instance, and he want to allow traffic, or he want to exfiltrate data on using SMB, let's say. So what attacker can do is attacker can allow himself or allow the traffic for port number 445, because SMB runs on port 445. So attacker will be able to do from within the EC2 instance, because the instance itself is having permissions to do this change. So try to make sure like you are attaching only those permissions which are required. Unnecessary permissions will lead to further damage. Similarly, you can attach policy roles to Lambda functions. Similar thing, whatever policy you attach, role attached to the Lambda function, your Lambda function will be able to do those things. So if it gets compromised, or maybe if it is having a injection vulnerability, for example, let's say SSTI, server-side template injection, XXE, SQL injection, and somehow attacker got access to OS commands, or able to access um, metadata API somehow, for example, using SSRF, that is server-side request forgery. So your application will get compromised. So the highest privileges in AWS is administrator access. You can create a inline policy or your custom policy with this as well. So what you need to do is you just need to uh, specify action star resource star. So you should be monitoring this policy if someone creates this policy in your environment. So make sure it is not allowed to users to create this policy, or at least uh, generate an alert whenever someone is trying to create this particular type of policy. Now you can, so now there are different types of policy which you can assume abuse. So one of the example is if you allow a user or a application, if you are having permission to create access key, so you can create a new access key of a user, for example. So what I'm trying to say is, again, let's go to the console. So this is the user with the name admin, and if you see, you can create access keys. You are only allowed to create 2 access keys. Access keys are just like username and password. So this is the username and password is a little bit longer. It is not visible because it will only be visible when you create it only once. Then you keep it somewhere safe. So this permission which I'm talking about allows you to create the access key. So if your service or whatever application which you are using is having this permission, so you will be able to do a create access key for a resource which if it is star, it is very good as a attacker. If it is a specific resource, you will be able to create a access key for that particular user or group. I'm not sure group, but user. Create login profile. Login profiles allow you to create username, password, or allow your user to log in into the AWS management console. So again, this is so if you are able to log in into the management console, uh, you don't need to run the CLI commands, so it will give you more visibility as a user. Again, this is another some other policy. So there are different policies. You can go to this blog. I have written it I think 2 years back. I have mentioned some of these. You can view those. So now you can abuse any service in AWS, or at least try to do that. Uh, Whichever service allows you to attach permissions to it. For example, EC2 instance, Lambda function, S3 buckets, SSM, ECS, EKS, RDS database, Glue, SageMaker, Cloud formation similar to Terraform. You can create resources with that. Code build, secrets manager, CI/CD. You can allow GitHub CI/CD actions, for example, to make changes to your AWS environment. So make sure you uh, give only those permissions which are required. Least privileges should be given to the services. Now let me show you one example. I created a lab. For this, I have um, deployed AWS Goat. So this is a intentionally misconfigured lab. So if you want to try this, you just need to fork this project AWS code from original repository. Then you will be configuring your credentials by going to settings and go to secrets and variables, go to actions. You will be specifying your AWS access key here and AWS secret access key, which you will get just by going to the AWS console of settings of a user, which I just showcased in the when I was showcasing IAM policies. Then you will be going to actions, and there will be two actions, apply and destroy. You will go to apply, and you will be running this action. Okay, like this. Run overflow. There are two modules. I have deployed module 1. You can deploy 1 or 2, whatever you like. But I will be showcasing module 1. So after deployment, it will look something like this. And in the last, you will be getting application URL, which is this. And you will be able to access application. Okay. Now there are different misconfigurations here in this application. If I go to login, for example, now there is a option for logging in. You can try SQL injection here. There is a forgot password functionality. Again, you can try injection attacks here. But let me focus on AWS specific misconfigurations. So I will create a user, for example, test1 @test1.com. Sorry, I entered email address in the username, but it works, so you don't need to change. House number 44, country UK, mobile number anything, favorite sport badminton. Password, you need to make sure you will remember this. So very simple, too short. Okay, so Chrome will tell you this password is already breached. Ignore that because we know it is already breached. Then you will get logged in like this. Again, Chrome will tell you password is breached. Ignore that. We will go to let's say new post, and here you will see there is a option to load an image, or this image will be uploaded in this post. So let's try this out. Post headline test1, posting date, you can choose anything, 2025. Let's say today's date 02/12. URL of the image, google.com. Go click on this, right click, copy image address, paste here, upload. URL file uploaded successfully. Type anything here, hello, for example, and submit. Blog post is posted, I believe somewhere. Posts. Okay, so we have so as an administrator user, you need to log in and then accept this post. But we don't need to go into that. The vulnerability is here. You are able, as a user input, we are entering a URL which is being loaded by the server. So what has happened is, in the blog post, you will be seeing the image of the Google, this image which you provided as a URL, and this is hosted externally. So this is server-side request forgery. You can try to do that. So I will be using Burp Suite to show you the request. Burp Suite is a tool which you can use to see HTTP requests and responses. So whenever your browser do some request or loads a web page, for example, you can see that here as well. You can go to network page, and if I reload, so you can see these are the requests which are being made by the browser. So for playing with these requests or fiddling with these or modifying these requests in between, you can use Burp Suite for that purpose. So Burp Suite is a proxy basically. So we will be looking into this request for posting a new post. Browser, you can either Burp Suite in your browser as well by changing the proxy, but using the browser provided within Burp Suite. So for that, you will just click on proxy and then click on open browser. A browser will open, uh, and whatever you access in this browser will get logged here. So for example, if I open example.com, so you can see a request is going to example.com, and I can modify this request, anything within this. And if I click on forward, so it should have been loaded. Forward, trusted, continue. Okay, so it will get loaded. So basically you can modify requests when it in between server and the browser as a client. So whatever you access here, it will be logged here. Every request you made, you will be able to see in the target tab. And in proxy tab, you can intercept that request or just allow the traffic. So this will allow you to make changes in between. Now let's open our lab here in this browser. test1 .com 12345A. New post. Let me show you side by side. Intercept on test1 URL. Again, anything you can use. For example, this, and type anything in your blog. Choose any date. Submit. So this is a request which is going by the browser. But we are not interested in this because this is options method. Options method is a HTTP method which is used to determine what are the functionalities provided by this API. So there are different methods: get, put, post, patch, delete, um, others as well. So this options method is used to determine which of these methods are allowed by the API. So in the response, if I intercept the response of this, we can see all these methods are allowed by this particular API. So that is the use of options method. Now this is the request in which we are interested. Post. It is saving the post which we are trying to save. Let me send this to repeater, and we will also see response of this. Post added. Repeater. This looks better. This is not the request for image. No, we want this request. Oh, I beg your pardon, I just forgot to click on upload image in the request, so that's why I wasn't able to see the request of the image. I captured the request of the blog post. So let me try again. Copy the URL of the image, paste here, and click upload. Yeah, this is the request in which I am interested. Let me send this to repeater. Again, not this one. This is options method. Next request. Yeah, this is the request in which I'm interested. Get method. So what is happening here is our image, which we submitted here in this field, the URL of the image, will be saved in the S3 bucket. Internal server error. Not getting saved. Let's try Google image once again. And this does not seem to be a URL. Not sure why. Google.com proxy off. Reject all. Copy this URL. Copy image address. So image address is just this image, okay? Paste that here. Go to burp suite, intercept on. Click upload. Options method, not interested. Yeah, this is the request in which I'm interested. Send this to repeater, and I will show you the response of this as well here. Okay, so what just has happened here is our image which we just supplied as a URL is downloaded by the server, and it is saved as an image. Okay, so our image is getting stored in S3 bucket within our AWS environment. Okay, why S3 bucket? How I came to know about that is using this domain name. So if your URL or any URL which you are accessing over the internet is having something similar to this, so there are high chances that is getting stored in S3 bucket. It is not 100%. You can customize this, but just by looking into the URL, you can also determine whether this is a S3 bucket or not. Also, you can try to directly access this URL. For example, if I just try to access this thing, so you can see this error. So this is the error which you see if you are trying to access a S3 bucket publicly, which is not allowed, or if this particular folder is not allowed. Okay. So now as an attacker, you can do multiple things. For example, this was our request, and we can load anything here. Like you can the website which you own, someone else website, uh, anything you can make the server to load or save it as a S3 bucket, as a image in S3 bucket. So instead of HTTP, we will try to read files. Now you can guess that this is a Linux server, or it can be Windows as well. So for Windows, you can read files like, for example, NTLM SAM files, which contains hash of the users. Or in Unix, you can try to read file, for example, /etc/passwd. This is a file which contains information of a user in Unix. So I instead of giving image URL, I just gave a URL of a file within the operating system. Now we got a image which is stored in our S3 bucket, which is created by the application. Now if we try to see this image, sorry for that. Okay, so for downloading that image, you can use wget or curl. I am downloading that particular image in temp directory. So it is downloaded, and if we try to see this image, by going into the temp folder, /temp, this is the image. And why it cannot be loaded? Because it is not an image. It is just it is being saved as an image. So that is the reason, because etc passwd file is a text file, it is not an image. That is the reason you are unable to read it. But as it is a text file, you can run strings command on it. uh, Strings is a command which you can run on any file in Unix. It will output the readable characters which are there in the file. So we want to run this on the image. Or you can do one more thing, you can try to run file command on this image. It will tell you this is a image, I think. No, okay. So it is telling you this is ASCII text. So very good. You can determine that using file command as well. So let me run strings command on this file, and we got the passwd output. Now this is the passwd file of the server. So now we are able to read files within the server, or we don't even know whether it is a EC2 instance or a Lambda function or anything else, or a physical server, but we are able to read files within the server. So let's say if you want to steal SH key from the user's home directory, let's say, now you already know the username, these are the users. You can try to go to the home directory of each user. The default user is root user. For example, in my case as well, I have logged in as root user, and the default home directory of root user is /root. So you can try to read sh key for this user, for example. By default it will be in .sh folder, and you can see these are the sh keys for my system. Similarly, you can read these files on the server, because we are able to read files in the server. So this, I just want to showcase the severity of this issue. This is server-side request forgery. Now, AWS services, or every other cloud as well, has a metadata service which is used to provide metadata, as the name suggests. But it also contains temporary credentials, or the uh, credentials of the role or the policy which is attached to the particular resource. Now, for reading that, um, what you can do is, let me send this to repeater once again. Instead of reading the files, you can try to access metadata service. So for that, you need to find a URL for that. I have written it here. By the way, this is the blog which I wrote recently, because I wanted to showcase, which I'm showcasing right now. So you can refer this as well. Whatever I have just showcased, it is here. Okay, you can review this. Yeah, so I want to read environment variables or metadata API. For metadata API, you can try to access this as a http :/ this URL, or this IP address. So you will be able to see the metadata API, or whatever resources or whatever things it offers. In our case, we will be reading environment variables. So for reading environment variables, this is the path you can use. So /proc is a directory, a virtual directory within Unix operating system. It contains information related to running processes. I can show you that here in my system. /proc, for example. Yeah, so these are all of these are processes, and the number which you see in the folder name is the process ID. So this is the process ID 1, this is process ID 2. So far all of these are process IDs. 5205, 5295, 5678. All of these are separate processes. To make it more clear, you can see the list of processes using this command, which is ps ps-ef, and I am running a new process that is watch -n1 is for 1 second. Watch command is a command which will run a command again and again uh, by the time interval which you just specify here. So I specified n-n1. So after one command, ls command will run. So every 1 second, ls command is running. Or to again showcase in good format, I'm just running date command. So you can see in the right side, date is running again and again, and because date changes, because every second is counted in the date command, so you can see this command is running again and again after 1 second. So this is just a process I wanted to showcase. Now again we will see uh, this process in our process tree. grep is used for filtering the output in a CLI in Unix. Watch, this is our process which is running in the bottom half of the screen, this one, and process ID of this is this 6263. And if I go here, reload, there will be a folder with this process ID 6263. So this is every information related to this particular process. Now the environment variables are stored in a file named as env abcd environ, sorry, this one. So these are the, sorry, double click. These are all the environment variables of this watch process. Okay. Now what we are trying to do is we want to read environment variables of the EC2 instance. So for that, instead of using process ID, a specific process ID, we are using self here. Self will refer to your current process. Current process means, so we are sending this request to the server. So whatever process server starts for processing our request is that particular process. I hope this makes sense, but if not, it will just now. File // /proc. Now we don't know we don't know the process ID of the process, so self, then environ. Yes, correct. Send. We got the image. Again, download this image. It is saved. Read this image, and you will get credentials. Now this is the session token. We also have something useful, that is JWT secret. So you can forge your own own JWT token to compromise the authentication. So you can log in as any user. You can forge your own token. We got JWT secret. We will not be looking into this because this is more into application security. We are focusing on AWS. We are interested in this. Copy. Let me paste it here. Next. This is our AWS access key ID. Uh, Next thing I am interested in is the session token, and it is till here. I think yes. Copy this, paste somewhere. I am pasting in terminal. Then there will be a secret access key, which is this. So how I am guessing this is, it is only this, because I am assuming this is another environment variable named as lang and equal to English en underscore us. So I'm just guessing. Okay, if you are doing this first time, you cannot determine like how long is this access key, but there is a default limit, as like character limit for access key. So these are the things which we need. Now you just need to open your AWS secrets credentials file, configure these things there. By default, it will be stored in a folder named as AWS in your current users directory. Then you go to credentials, and I am exposing my credentials here. Do not try to do anything. I will be disabling every account after this session. So do not try to do something right now. Copy this key. I am modifying, let me create a new one just for showcasing. Just for creating a new profile, you just name the profile in the square brackets, for example, new one. Then you specify the access key ID like this. Then next variable, which is secret access key, and which is this in my case. Copy, paste, then token, which is this. copy, paste. Okay, very good. Now let me open a new tab. AWS STS profile is new one. Unable to parse. Save. Sorry, I have named this variable incorrectly. Who am I? Security token included in the request is invalid. So either there is a typo or this token is expired. I don't think it is expired because that is highly unlikely. So I'm missing something. Let's try again. It starts from here and it is still here. IQ2DY. IQ2DY. This one is of how many characters? Let's see. Session token is still here. Then we have LD library, AWS Lambda, access key, secret access key, which is still here. Access key is this. Let me try once again. Copy. Paste. Copy access key ID. Paste. And secret access key. It is exactly same. Let me try once again. New one. Invalid. Very good. So we will try once again. Same request. Send once again. You will get a new image. Copy image. Copy the URL of the image. Then again download the image using wget. Get image. We got new token. Yeah, I don't see any other environment variable in between. Okay, copy, paste again. AWS access key ID, paste here, and the other one is this one, secret access key. AWS secret access key, again copy, paste, save. Hopefully it works now. No. So now I will be extracting the environment variables using ChatGPT, because we have AI, so why not use it? Oh, let's say Copilot. Extract environment variables. Let me try to modify maybe this one, for example. Copy. In the meantime, our GPT is extracting the environment variables. I don't think I have made any difference here, but who knows? Okay, so there is a typo. I'm just not sure where. And AI is also not responding. Let's give our credentials to China. Limit reached. Okay, so they are down. Other API, AI, ChatGPT, login. Okay, we can chat directly as well. Again, copy the environment variables. Extract variables. Extract each env separately and output. Focus on AWS. No. Extract these variables from this. It is not copied properly. Copy. Paste. Yeah, now it will work. Very good. I'm sorry for this mess, but there is a typo which I am unable to find. Extract environment variables with respect to AWS. So now it is doing the work. Hopefully this is our credentials which we need. Okay, let's try once more. Access key ID is this. Go to your credentials file. This is wrong. This is missing. Wrong. Access key is this. Secret session token. Paste. Remove this. Let me try once more. New one. Invalid.
Just letting you know, we're running out of time. We only have 10 minutes left.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Okay. But this is
we
how
know
we
where
do.
we know where you're going. Yeah.
I can showcase this in my blog, which I just wrote day before yesterday.
Cool.
So after configuring that, we will be logging in that with that profile. Okay. So I'm not sure where is the typo here, but there is somewhere. So you will be logged in as with that particular role, which is in this case, which will be this blog app Lambda data. And I can show you that here, blog app Lambda data role. Blog app Lambda data. Okay. This is the permissions of our role. So it can do these things. Next is we because I own the environment, so I was able to go to the AWS console and then showcase you the permissions. But as a attacker, you will not be knowing that. So for that, we will use a tool named as Pacu, PACU. That is having a module named as IAM brute force permissions. Okay, I can show you that here because that tool does not require specific credentials. Docker images. So you can either use Pacu as a Docker container, or you can install it separately. So how you run that is you go to Pacu GitHub, and this is the command which you use to run Pacu in the Docker container. And it will start like this. You can name the session or not. I don't want to name the session. Nothing. So the module which I used is this one. If you type ls and press enter, so it will output all the modules you will be using for brute forcing enumeration, for brute forcing the credentials or the permissions. You will be using this one, IAM brute force permissions. So that's what which I used here. Here, and I was able to determine that the Lambda function which is running in the server, is having these permissions. Is having permissions for EC2, S3, and logs. Now, next step is to, because we came to know that we are having permissions for S3 bucket, so we tried to list S3 bucket, and we got to know that these are the S3 buckets in the environment. After this, we try to access the files within the S3 buckets, again using the same credentials which we got from the image. Okay. Um, then we will be getting access to SSH key of AC2 instance. We will be downloading the SSH key. Then we will be logging in using that SSH keys which we got in the S3 bucket. We will get into the the instance uh, which we got into using the SSH key which we got in the S3 bucket. Then we will be using the credentials of the EC2 instance to move laterally. Again, so this is like it will take more time. So how we did it, we did this, we started from a web application. Again, this will show you correctly. We started from a web application, we got access to S3 bucket, then we moved to EC2 instance. The key of the EC2 instance we got um, in the S3 bucket. Then we use that EC2 instance to give ourselves administrator access privileges. So that part is in the bottom. After we get into EC2 instance, then we again brute force the permissions of the EC2 instance, because as an attacker we don't know. So we try to list the policies which are attached to the EC2 instance. um, then we use this particular permission, which is attach role policy, to attach a high privileged role to our blog app Lambda data. So blog app Lambda data is the application which is doing this operation. We attached a high privileged role policy to that particular application. So what do I mean by that is, so we run this command inside EC2 instance. Okay. And if you can see, we are attaching administrator access to this role, blog app Lambda data, which is running this application. So in short, we increase the privileges of this Lambda function, which is executing this operation. Okay. Then we again run this proc slash self slash environ to gain the credentials again, which we saw in the environment variables. And we use those credentials to get administrator access, just like that. So that's what I did. And I got administrator access. This is the attack path. Unfortunately, I don't know. There is some typo. I am unable to showcase that, and time is I don't have time. Protections for this I can show you. So you can use AWS WEF for making sure this injection fails here itself in the application. So attacker cannot move laterally or cannot move to cloud. So if the attack fails here, so everything is safe. You are securing the entry point itself. So for that, you can create a WEF rule I have already created that. I will show you that. AWS WAF. You go to web ACLs. Then I created this rule for preventing that SSRF. And if you go to rules, this is blocking this file string. Okay. So if this string comes in the request, directly block that request. So very simple. Now, currently this request is going unfiltered without WAF. You can see here going as it is. Now, if I enable the WAF for this resource, add resource, and these are the only resources. I think this is the one, API v1, and I have attached my resource to my rule. And let me try to do this request once again. Send. It is still going. This one. So there are two API gateways endpoints in my environment. I'm not sure which one is this. Send. Going as it is. Traffic overview. Send forbidden. Okay, so it takes some time. Okay, so this is AWS WAF is blocking our SSRF attack because this particular thing is not allowed in the request. File : // So you can use AWS WAF to create your custom rules, and you can protect against SSRF. This is one of the way which you can prevent SRF. There are others as well. For example, just this functionality itself is not suitable to load images from external URL. It should not be allowed from the starting. There is a design flaw in the application. Next thing you can use is there is IAM access analyzer in the AWS. That is, if you go to IAM, so you can see access analyzer, external access, unused access analyzer settings. So external access will tell you your publicly exposed resources. So if it is enabled, in my case it is, this will tell me my publicly exposed S3 buckets. So for example, all these three S3 buckets are publicly exposed, and you can see the privileges, read list. So you can use this as well. You can customize this to create alerts. For example, attach, use SNS. SNS is another service within AWS. You can send SMS, you can send email, you can send Slack messages. So you can integrate others to other things as well. Okay. I think that's pretty much it, which I wanted to showcase. Thank you for joining.
That was comprehensive.
Okay.
There was some. There's a couple of questions. I mean, the good news is that we've recorded it, so you can go back on YouTube and you can rewatch and dive in. You can also check the blog, which we put into the chat, so people who are reviewing this now or in the future can go and follow along with what you wrote down in Medium, which is awesome. There was one question way back, which I think I'll let you field because there was some confusion about Burp Suite. If you can see on the screen, somebody said, "What's the similarity between Wireshark and Burp Suite?" Which
Okay. Wireshark allows you to see all the protocols, whereas WebSuite is specifically for HTTP or web-related protocols. It supports WebSockets as well. So WebSuite is specific to web applications, whereas Wireshark is generic application layer protocols, any protocol.
yeah, different layer in the stack.
Yes. Wireshark. With Wireshark, you can also capture the traffic of Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or other wireless traffic. So Wireshark supports many protocols, whereas WebSuite is specific to web applications.
Excellent. Roy is asking a question, which we can solve that right now because we have a link to that. So I'll just paste that directly into the chat below his comment. There you go, Roy. It's now in the chat and should be on YouTube. Any other questions from that I maybe missed? Oh, here we go. One more from Roy. Are there ways to limit the potential damage when using AWS Goat?
Any questions you can ask? You can comment on the blog as well or on the YouTube. I will reply.
Oh, I see what Roy's asked a question. He's hesitant to use, I think, the AWS Goat project because what if somebody else found my test web server?
See, you will have a unique name. So when you deploy this, every time you will get a unique name here as a subdomain. If you see this 7mm, so this will be unique. So it is highly unlikely, but it is better if you use this in your personal account, not on company's AWS account. Use it on your test account. Just create a trial AWS trial account. You don't need to have a credit card. You can use virtual debit card. Give some random address or name, create AWS account, and then you can play with it.
There you go. Sound advice in least privilege. Anyone? Any of us? Any questions, Jess? Jess is pretty cloud security ish.
Ish. I think you've gone ahead and answered the majority of my questions. I was thinking about like I had my sort of panic hat on how do you go about like mitigating a lot of this, and I think you showed some like really interesting like indicators of compromise. But is there anything aside from the sort of like privilege escalation that you think that people should just go to log scale and set up like 1 million alerts for?
You can use AWS config. So there is one more thing in AWS, that is AWS config. This one. So this you can again create custom rule. For example, if anyone tries to attach administrator access policy to anything, you will get alert. You can customize this. So this monitors your resources and what other privileges is getting attached to that particular resource. You can use this. Yeah, AWS config. If anyone creates or attaches administrator access policy or give permissions to any resource, alert will be generated.
Putting my attacker hat back on and taking off the defense one, because it's after 5 p.m. here anyway. You use some pretty like great commands to automate things like the date command to be able to kind of continually check in. Have you got any other things in your Swiss Army knife that you think are particularly useful, either with or without Burp Suite, to kind of automate the discovery piece, or to kind of sniff out any useful credentials?
I use these tools usually. Prowler, Steampipe, PMapper, Scout Suit. So Prowler is kind of, you can say, hardening, is used for hardening. It will tell you common misconfigurations. Then you can move from there as well as the attacker. Whereas Steampipe is more of a inventory management for AWS. So with Steampipe, you can query your AWS environment as a SQL query. Similar to SQL query, you will get information. For example, if you want to find public S3 buckets, so you can query it as a SQL using Steampipe. Whereas PMapper is similar to, I'm not sure if you're aware of Bloodhound or not. Bloodhound is one more tool which is used for creating attack paths, or checking if there is an attack path which exists in Active Directory. Whereas PMapper is similar to that with respect to AWS. So PMapper will tell you if you are owning a resource, for example, Lambda function in our case, if there is a privilege escalation path which you can follow to gain high privileges. So you can use PMapper for that. Does that answers your question?
Yeah, more than answers it. There's a really interesting, there's a really cool list of. I've never heard of Steampipe before.
Steampipe is good. This you can use for example, let's say you want to reduce your attack surface in cloud. So I use this to reduce attack surface to determine all the public IPs which are there in my environment in AWS. And so you can use Steampipe as a inventory management, for example, to gather the information regarding your resources in the cloud.
Okay, excellent. I don't see any more questions in the chat, so we can probably wrap it up.
Yep. Some brilliant resources there.
Yeah, thanks very much for the talk. Super comprehensive. The demo gods were not playing nice. We've all been there. Respect for trying though. Trying to go live. I mean, I've been your boots many times.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work on live, but you can follow blog. It will work.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and we'll share it around as well via email and on LinkedIn afterwards as well, so that everyone can have access.
And if you're catching the stream of this, you'll be able to see the kind of full journey. But if you're looking at this on the YouTube video that we've edited, congratulations! Look at this. Look at the successful output we have. Just inserting some TV magic that we can do later.
Okay, we're going to sign off. Frankie, once again, when's the next meetup?
It is Wednesday, the 19th of March at Veracode, and we'll have Paul Schwarzenberg talking, and all that's already live on Meetup, so you can RSVP now.
Okay. I'm going to hit end stream, and thank you very much for an amazing talk. See you, everybody.
Have good evenings.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Everyone.